Hello and welcome. And once again, a tricky topic. Before we start, I'm going to make a disclaimer here. We're not challenging people's religious values. We're not challenging people's core values. If you think porn is bad for you, don't watch it. If you think porn is against your religion, that's all right, please. We are not having a religious discussion. We're not having a discussion about faith. We're having a scientific discussion like we did yesterday. So those who did not see last night's show, please go back and see it, because we were discussing really interesting stuff, pedophilia, whether it's really a mental disorder or a condition which needs to be accepted. So go back and watch that. And again tonight, pornography. It is an ever-growing industry. Tens and tens, even hundreds of billions of dollars go in there. And hundreds of millions of daily views recorded. The number of views which are not actually statistically available is even higher. Tens of millions of people watch porn every day all over the world, men, women, everybody. So we're not here to challenge your faith or your belief. We're just here to understand, is porn really all that bad, or is it just a beautiful thing to watch? Dennis?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're really kind of talking about, and thank you for setting it up that way. And is it I think it's the age-old question: is it art? Is it art, or is it some sort of filthy topic? So I'm really interested. I'm really anxious to get into this today and to see some of the comments that come in. I'm anticipating some. We'll see if my predictions on some of the comments come true. I don't want to say them because I don't want people just not doing it or doing it just because. But
dude, as expected. What do you expect?
Well, I mean, it's Rafia. Come on. She's our girl, man. Like, listen, I think at the end of the day, like when you think about something like porn, you look at the accessibility of it, and it's really interesting, FQ. I did some research on this, and one, I don't know if this is true or not. I really don't, because you don't know how accurate all the information on Google is. But Pakistan seems to have one of the highest. It seems like Pakistan has one of the highest viewerships of pornography. So it's It's kind of interesting, and I think where I kind of got really interested in this topic and pornography in Pakistan in particular is I saw somebody, I want to say it was Mia Khalifa, I believe she's an adult actress, who said, I don't understand why...
You believe, really? You don't know who Mia Khalifa is, really?
I'm saying I believe that's her name. I know who Mia Khalifa is. I think that's her
Mia
name.
Khalifa,
Yeah, so, but her point is that I don't understand why I'm banned in countries. I'm not allowed to travel to countries where the men there watch the majority of my movies. So it's kind of it's an interesting concept in that, hey, we want to watch it in private, but we don't want to we don't want to acknowledge that it happened at all. So as far as Rafia goes, hey, thank you so much for just coming out and saying it. Like, thank you for being an authentic human being.
Right. Mia had a lot of interesting things to say, especially when she stopped being a porn star. She had a lot of really society-shocking statements to make, very interesting stuff. But you mentioned Pakistan has a very high number of porn watchers. Like I said, we're not discussing people's faith or if it's right or wrong, halal or haram. We're not doing that discussion. The fact is, people do watch porn all over the world.
That's correct.
And again, this becomes cultural thing, like we talked about culture yesterday. It again becomes a cultural thing. First time I flew through Frankfurt Airport, this is back in 1983, 82, something like that, I think. And I was really surprised. They had pornography running in a theater in the transit lounge.
Wow.
They were selling condoms in the toilets. And they had pornography. At that time, it used to be, cassette tapes. And they would be sitting on the counters in the shops. And they were selling it openly. And they did not consider it bad. And some of the earlier pornography came out of Germany before America really started consuming it. Before Deep Throat and Linda Lovelace and all those things happened. Debbie Does Dallas and whatever.
Right.
Don't ask me why I know all that, man. But Europe was really open with that.
Yeah.
So again, the cultural the cultural acceptance of pornography is also important to discuss, because when we say that, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to accept it, but I'm going to watch it, it's not because they don't want to watch it. It's because the cultural environment makes it taboo and makes it shameful. And in the U.S. to date, even now, pornography is really. I mean, look at the statistics. America is running some of the largest porn sites.
Yeah.
Yet in America, pornography is still considered as a bad thing.
Yeah, it's really interesting because one of the biggest places for pornography, the porn industry was in California for many years, and then it's really kind of interesting is that California came down and required all adult film stars to wear condoms, and as soon as that happened, guess what? The adult industry moved to Florida, where they don't have those same types of regulations. So it's just really, really interesting, and this kind of ties into what we spoke about yesterday. Because I will just say that I haven't looked. What came up in my feed was stuff in the U.S. because that's where I'm located. However, my point I'm getting at is that the number one thing that is viewed, it starts with the word teen. So I'm just saying, like when we talked about pedophilia yesterday, and now when you look at the most, one of the biggest search words in the pornography industry, it starts with the word teen. Like again, it just seems like we're kind of perpetuating, this whole sexualizing and hypersexualizing here in the U.S. Younger kids. And I think what we're doing is we're actually taking, and as far as the science behind porn, I totally get it. It makes total sense to me. The same as gambling, the same as drug addiction. It's all the same stuff, and it all comes from the same center in the brain and everything else. But now when we look at what is it that I think you can really kind of tell what a society values or doesn't value by the type of porn that's produced or consumed. That's my hypothesis. So I think it's a really interesting.
My connection was acting up. I've just switched. My connection was acting up. I've just switched to a different connection. So I missed the last thing you said. Could you please repeat that for me?
Yeah, I think it's really. I think it tells a lot about a society. I think it tells a lot about what a society values or doesn't value by the type of porn that's produced or consumed in that particular part of the world. So here in the United States, the number one search word is teen. So it's this whole thing with younger girls, and that's when you look at there's even a couple of documentaries about this on Netflix, and with that they actually kind of dive into this whole world, and a lot of the young girls that get into this industry, a lot of people think, oh, it's drugs and everything else. I mean, there is some of that. However, what this film really showed is that it's a lot of people just either they want an experience, they want to make some fast money, but once they'll take a young girl and within like just to say 18 or 19 years old, and they will run her through, I don't know, she'll produce like 200 to 300 films in a 6-month period, and then they cut her loose. So it's a terrible industry. Whether people watch it or not, I think this is a multi-layered, complex issue about the people that participate, that watch it versus the people that make the films and so forth. So everybody has different reasons as to why they consume porn, and it doesn't always have to do. A lot of it, in my mind, from a psychology perspective, it's boredom. It's the same reason a lot of people, when you think about why people smoke cigarettes as often as they do, or they go to the refrigerator as often, it's boredom. So it's a lack of it's a coping skill. It's a coping mechanism. It's not really a skill.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. I should take it there. But before, let's look at this side. Then I'd like to go and look at the ethic of being a porn star or doing porn. Or being I'd like to look at that as well. Because a lot of people, the reason the taboo is associated to watching porn is because of the ethic of creating porn. Like Linda Lovelace comes out a decade later and says she was forced to do the movie.
Right.
And the earliest porn movies were done out of probably financial need. I mean, Sylvester Stallone does Italian Stallion because he didn't have money. Tracy Lords is underage and makes tens of movies before FBI finally breaks down the door and says, "You're under." And she's like, "What took you so long? I've been waiting for you." The famous line, her famous line is, "What took you so long? Don't you see I'm underage?" So that era of pornography definitely had ethics issues in some parts of the world. But even then, Europe, there was a very good structure, and it was a proper industry regulated. But now, globally, porn stars are not necessarily there because they're short of money or because they're drug addicts or they're being forced into the business. Now they're mega stars. I mean, some of these porn stars, men and women, they're making some big bucks, and they're in there because they enjoy the business. They think it's a business. Well, for them it is a business. Who am I to judge? And it's actually an industry now, where it's regulation. There's health regulation, the way it's done, and these big stars, they have agents. They control their terms. They control what they do, what they don't do.
Sure.
So so I think the ethic of watching and associating it to maybe sex trade and stuff is gone. Now we can come back to address why people watch it, right? You want to say something about that?
Well, as far as I mean, as far as the ethics go, I think I don't know that there's an ethical dilemma here. I think what we're really talking about is more of a moral dilemma, and I think that when you really look at it has become mainstream. Excuse me, more so. But what I find really interesting is when you see about it seems like it's easier for men, and most men that are in pornography, it's gay porn that they end up doing. And then they're most of the time it's men that are able to transition into mainstream. There's not a lot of females. I really cannot think of a lot of females that started off in the adult industry and then transitioned over into Hollywood or mainstream. So again, to me, here's the reason. One, I think people should be, I'm a live and let live kind of guy. I'm very much a libertarian, don't tread on me kind of a thing. However, I do want to say that I think that, when we look at the age of the people, I do think that there are some people that are trafficked into pornography. If we look at it, the ethic part of this as for a society, I don't know. I think I'm a little bit torn on this. Again, I think people should be able to do what they do. I think that there are people in porn. So as a psychologist, listen, over my career, I have worked with people. I've worked with adult film stars, male and female. So as far as there's some that seem to have more psychological damage. There was others that seemed to be like, I don't know, it's just my job. Who cares? And they had a wonderful relationship with their significant other. So I think it's very individual. As far as a society goes, I don't know. I think the society has to determine what's right and what's good for them. For me, it's not something I participate in, and the reason I don't participate in it is I don't like the idea that somebody may have or may not have. I don't want to watch something. So for me, I'm just telling you my perspective. I don't want to watch something that may or may not have somebody that was doing it against their will. To me, that's the creepy part of it for me, not whether or not people are having sex on film. I don't know that people do all kinds of crazy stuff, and I say crazy, but it's normal to them. So I think we put value judgments on some of these topics. The reason I don't participate, listen, it has nothing to do with respecting my wife at all. It has nothing to do with respect for my wife at all. I have respect for my wife because I respect her. Porn, I don't participate in it, and the reason simply is I don't want to by accident watch an underage person that may or may not have been trafficked. I don't want to watch somebody that has been objectified or needed fast money. It's just there's too many reasons for me that I don't participate in that process. As far as health-wise, I don't know. There's a lot of things. People would say that I have a serious coffee addiction, and it's the exact same process of watching porn.
Okay, I'm going to drop into the definition of porn. Now, there's a soft porn, there's hard porn. I mean, movies like Emmanuel, there's a whole series of Emmanuels, which are called soft porn. We are okay, and more and more it's happening now. You see Game of Thrones, there were really steamy sex scenes. It's all right to watch the Khaleesi do whatever her name was. It was all right. Everybody watched it. You've seen The Basic Instinct, Eyes Wide Shut. There's a lot of sex scenes in mainstream television. And why is that not qualified as porn just because genitalia are not shown? But that would be really interesting because Japanese porn, even print porn, the genitalia are scratched out.
Yeah, it's
There's
pixelated.
a whole science to it. But yet so it's completely XXX porn with genitalia scratched out. In Japan, on cable television, you can actually see full-on nudity. In Germany, there used to be a show called Chin Chin Girls, and Chin Chin Girls were, really, it's pretty much very, very raunchy stuff. In UK, there's a show called The Naked Blind Date or Naked Date, something like that, where people are picking up a date based on their body parts, and the penises and vaginas and boobs, and they actually slowly, as you pick a date, the dating matchmaking thing, but it's done over nudity.
Yeah.
Now, why is not all of that considered porn? And you'd be okay watching. I mean, Rafi made a beautiful point, and I'd like to stick it right now so we can bring that into discussion. Some people say looking at porn, Khushbu did. Some people say looking at porn is infidelity because it means someone experiencing eroticism outside the couple. Now, if you're watching hardcore XXX porn, that discussion falls in. But if you're watching Emmanuel, if you're watching Penthouse do Vanessa Williams, if you're watching, all these sex scenes in other movies, why is that not infidelity? Because I could be watching Eyes Wide Shut with my significant other. She doesn't like it, or he doesn't like it, while I'm getting off on it. Is that also, why is that not infidelity? It's on our television, it's on our cable TV, it's in our movies, it's everywhere. So where is the qualification that now it has become pornography? And not to say that even in mainstream movies, a lot of people will be doing these scenes because they don't have a choice and they have to do it.
Mm-hmm. So to that answer, I cannot speak to the Muslim reasons, but I can speak to the Christian reasons. And one of the things that I was brought up, taught, is that what we were taught about pornography is that was it cheating? So the story in the Bible goes that David looked upon Bathsheba with lust in his eyes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So David, we know this. King David, he was banging Bathsheba. So no big deal. Whatever. That's how it was. But what I was taught is that when you look upon somebody with lust in your eyes, you've already committed adultery in your heart. Like, listen, I don't even know about that, man. Like, that's just so outrageously crazy to me to even hear something like that. Like, that's very judgmental. It's very much.
No. Hang on. Yesterday we agreed pedophilic thoughts were bad. So why aren't pornographic thoughts bad?
Well, I think we're talking about something
just
very
because
different.
the subject matter has changed.
Of course. I mean, let's be honest, FQ. I mean, part of pornography is necrophilia. Do we not all find that to be a little weird?
Is it my connection? Or is it your connection? You're completely messing up.
I don't know, Mike. What I was saying is that part of the porn industry, and not just porn, but there's a term called necrophilia. So why would we not look at pedophilia as weird? Anytime we add ilia on the end of it. Listen, I mean, here we had a guy in my former profession. He was taken. This guy ended up losing everything, like reputation. In fact, I'm not even totally sure. I heard about 3 years after this incident, he committed suicide. But it was this guy. He was a respected public official, and he got caught on tape. People stood there and they videotaped him doing a sheep, pants down, doing a sheep.
That's really common. That's really
well.
common.
It's not common here.
Doing sheep is really common.
It's not common here.
Or in Scotland, yeah.
I don't know, man. I just know it's not common here. And I can tell you one of the reasons it's not common here. What?
Just Google Scotland man caught doing sheep. There's so many hits you'd be surprised.
That's really crazy. That's really interesting. Listen, I don't know. People do what they want to do.
There's a nasty rugby joke. Why do Scots wear kilts? Because you can pin the sheep down with one hand.
Wow. I don't know, man. All I know is that was a big deal here. It was all over the news. It was a big deal, and it really destroyed this guy's life. And not only that, but not only was he a public official, but he was an official within his religion as well. So this was a very devastating, this was a very devastating event to get captured on film. I think anytime we add Ilya on the end,
there's a whole genre called farm sex.
Look, I don't know, FQ. What I can tell you is that when I look upon a sheep, it's the same as when I look upon a child. I don't see sex. That's just not what I see. Like I don't know. It's odd to me. I mean, I'm a very clean person. I don't even like to touch my face without washing my hands. So like I can tell you, I'm not looking to have sex with an animal. I think we should get into some of these comments because they're really pretty interesting.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah. So here's the thing that's kind of interesting. One of the things about this is not even in the top 15 according to the biggest porn website, Pornhub. What I understand is in Asia, it's not Pornhub that most of it is. It's done off of a site called XNXX, which is the biggest one in the Eastern Hemisphere. Pornhub is huge here in the United States. And I will just say, this was kind of funny. So there's always these first. So everybody's like, oh, America has the First Amendment and freedom of speech. Well, here's the downside to that. Here's the downside, is that this was just a lawsuit. It was in Florida, and there was a stadium. So I don't know, a stadium that a sports team plays at. Well, it was up for sale. Mm-hmm. The stadium was up for sale, and you know who wanted to buy it? Bang Bros. Bang Bros. So they wanted to have the Bang Bros Stadium. So Bang Bros is it's a porn site. It's a whole genre of porn where they have sex in vans. They pull women off the street and have sex with them in a van and all kinds of stuff. It's called Bang Bros. So we almost had here in the United States.
Oh yeah, Bang Bros. Yeah,
Bang Bros Stadium. Yeah. So we almost had the Bang Bros Stadium in Florida. And they're like, well, that's not fair. Here in my own state, we had an issue where they were selling advertising on city buses and things like that. Well, the erotic stores said, well, that's not fair. We want to run advertisements on these buses. And they were like, no strip clubs, no erotic stores. And so it had to go to court. So there is a downside to our freedom of speech, if you will. As far as porn goes, I think that when you look at where porn is consumed, and you look at the type of porn consumed, because the number one search engine, the number one search term for women that have been searched is lesbian. So it's just, I think there's a lot of curiosity. I think that a lot of the porn sites get hits based on people's curiosity. I don't know. I'm a little torn with this whole topic, whether it's good for society or bad for society. I think if we all just take and pay attention to ourselves, hey, it's not good for me, so I don't do it, or hey, I don't know, I don't have a problem with it, so I'm going to do it. Why are we always in everybody's business as the morality police? There's my take
also
on that.
Also in relationships, because people keep throwing in relationships as cheating and all. Listen, I have a problem with that assessment because, like I said earlier, there's so much you can watch in the name of Games of Thrones or whatever other shows and movies. Mainstream television, Netflix is full of steamy, raunchy scenes. You almost cannot avoid them. They're all over.
Sure.
Frontal nudity, belly up nudity is very, very common. So you know what? You need to decide what you want to call porn and what you don't want to call porn. And if
Agreed.
you call hardcore triple X cheating, then that should be cheating as well. Because you say hardcore triple X is cheating because one person could be getting off on it, while somebody could be getting off on lots of other stuff. So it's not about getting off. It's not about doing it together. It's about you need to define how much you want to watch together and you don't want to watch together. And again, morality should be a personal thing. Is it cheating?
Yes, it is.
I don't know. Cheating. Then you have to define what is, at what point you'll call it cheating. You have to have clear communication on that, and that could be debatable. But if it actually screws up your life and your relationship, you shouldn't be watching it, man. But if it helps you let off steam, if it kills boredom, and if it helps you be a better person, then go for it, man. I'm not challenging people's religious values here.
I just think and what you were saying, what it did is it brought a memory up of this couple that I know. They're a couple. I used to work with him. I know his wife very well. I've known them for over I've known this couple, like they've been married almost as long as me and April. I think they're at 25 years now. They're coming up on their 50s, and these two, like they go to places like hedonism. They take trips when travel was around. They went to hedonism. They have memberships, like actual memberships to like high class, like 3 or 4 different high end strip clubs here in my state. And this is one of the nicest, happiest couples I've ever met. And they've never raped anyone. They actually participate in swinging. They go to swingers clubs and things like that. They've never raped anybody. They've never, as far as they're concerned, they've never cheated on each other because they do it together. So I think that we take and put value judgments on other people's relationships, other people's morality that we don't really have a right to make. That's just my feeling.
Exactly.
And I just want to come out and say, I'm not sure who this is, but listen, if you're gonna be harassing people, please just get off the site. Like, this is a serious conversation. We're not even like laughing or having a fun time here. So please don't I'm not gonna spend the time to go through this. Please don't harass anybody on here. This is a discussion for adults. If you're not an adult, get your basic ass out.
Okay, I want to take this comment. Studies show that viewing porn makes consumers more critical of their partner and less satisfied with their romantic relationships. Well, you know what? Valid point. But then, if one person watches Tony Robbins enough, and he would also become critical of, or she would become critical of the partner lagging in self-development. Any kind of growth in a different direction could make each other critical. You can't just blame porn for it. I mean, one person watches Mind Valley all the time and watches Sadhguru and Tony Robbins and goes to Dennis Tyrrell for an executive coaching or personal development, comes back and she tells her husband, hey, you know what, you're an idiot. You need to step up. So you're going to say, well, don't do personal development as well?
Right. I think what Kushbu, listen, I agree. It can. And where I think where your statement is really, really, truly accurate is that with kids. So people when people learning about sex, they're trying to, they're exploring, they're young, et cetera. And I think what happens, and I don't think there's any, what ends up happening is it creates these unreal expectations. So, and I'm just going to say, for girl, it's both ends. Girls end up, the females end up thinking that, oh man, I'm gonna have to put my ankles behind my ears and like all these crazy positions, and somebody's gonna want to choke me. So I think it does on both genders. I think it creates unrealistic expectations. You look at take something else. Take Pornhub. Take porn out of it. 50 Shades of Grey. Had three, right? 50 Shades of Weird. Yeah. That's right, because that's something I actually in a whole other context.
It's a lovely topic done poorly. It should have been much better.
I didn't see them. I'll just tell you, like, if I'm gonna watch something like that, if I'm gonna watch something similar to like a 50 Shades of Grey, like screw that. Just give me the hardcore porn. Like that's where I'm at. I also don't understand, like, why is it a big deal? Like, here in the United States, it's just absolutely, like, nonsense to me that you'll see somebody in a commercial. Like in a commercial selling shampoo and they're in the shower washing their hair, and yet they're not naked in the shower. Really? Who gets in the shower fully clothed? I think all of it, like, let's just take some of the morality out of this. Apply your morals to yourself. Apply your morals to yourself and hold yourself to the moral standard instead of holding everybody else to the standard that you want. As far as men taking and, I think it works both ways. I do. I think men kind of get a bad rap where porn is concerned, but there's enough women that are watching it now too, and we have data to support that statement. So I think it works both ways. And if we want to be judgmental on that this is cheating, like, then that's between that couple. So I'm going to say that if it's that not all men that watch porn are cheaters, they're not watching porn for, I don't know. Listen, here's the deal, man, and I'll just come right out and say it. I had to be like 19 years old. I was in the military, and I was in the state of Texas, and we used to cross the border on the weekends. It's since been shut down. And remember, this is a long time ago. So we used to cross the border over into Juarez, Mexico. Why would we go to Juarez, Mexico, FQ? You lived in the South. What's Juarez, Mexico known for? Do you happen to know?
No, I don't know, man.
Donkey shows.
Juarez, Mexico. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Juarez, Mexico, known for donkey shows. Have I been to a donkey show? Yep. Sure have. You know why? Because that is just so outrageous to me. It's for the same reason I went to watch wrestling with little people. It's the same reason I went and watched wrestling with the luchadores. Because it's a spectacle. Now, I will tell you, the donkey show was actually very disturbing to me. And we walked out, we're like, that's a little too fucked up. And we ended up leaving.
No, but you don't need to justify. I mean, I'm 56. You're turning 50, Marshall. I think in our life we've traveled enough. We've seen all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, I was in New Orleans back in 1983, man. They used to be mainstream theaters which would show porn in the day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you've been to Bourbon Street, you've seen all kinds of crap.
Absolutely.
If you've been to Mardi Gras is a walking, talking porn show.
It absolutely is.
Okay.
And if anybody watching doesn't understand, everybody walking around Mardi Gras, when they have beads, with the women that have beads, y'all, that's because they showed them. They took their shirt and opened them up, and that's how you get beads at Mardi Gras. Just so you know, It's not just some big festival. It's kind of like Carnival.
It's a big party, man. Okay, quickly going through the comments before we become too late. Men's fantasy less about relationship, less about tenderness and dialogue, and more about cutting right to the sexual act. Women's fantasy, that's absolute BS. That's cliched, stereotypical crap. I think women are heartless and they have no concept of romance. Men are romantic by nature. Dennis, what's your...
it's just these comments. Kushbu, I love you, friend. These comments just make me laugh. They make me laugh because I get told so often, many of people in my life are female, even April, my wife, who I've lived with for 30 years, will say to me, dude, you're such a girl. Meaning that it's not about that. Like, I will be the very first one to come out and say that, bottom line, sex is way better. The best sex you will ever have is with somebody that you're truly connected with. Like, it's just I don't know how else to put that. It has nothing to do with positions. It has nothing to do with pornography. It has to do with that level of connection that you have with the person that you're engaging in that behavior with. There it is. I forget who said it, but basically, what is it that an orgasm is really just the perfect combination of fantasy and friction? There it is. It's 100% mind.
What? No, actually, scientifically speaking, the major part of the orgasm comes from the brain and not physical stimulation.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. It's kind of like...
Scientifically speaking. Scientific.
I have worked with men. In the United States, the term performance coach is in many instances that refers to male performance, sexual performance, and mainly erectile dysfunction. And a lot of times, many times that men that cannot perform sexually, it is simply it's more a mind issue than any type of physical issue. There's physical issues that'll keep a man keep a man down, if you will. But like at the same time, it's 90%. I don't know the percentage, but it's overwhelmingly mental.
Okay, Imad, you've been reading too many articles. You know what? I have known so many people who watch so much porn and they're not addicted to it, man. Just like they're not addicted to anything else.
This is correct.
And
that's absolutely
okay,
correct statement. Thank you. Yeah. But that I'm just going to come out and say it's not just porn. It's not just porn that happens with. That's the same driving mechanism behind gambling addiction. These behavioral type of addictions, that's what it's based in. I mean, I'll just take it a step further. You're also getting serotonin and other endorphins as well. So it's not just the dopamine. Dopamine's very short-lived. That serotonin is what carries that on. So but thank you. I really, really appreciate that.
So whether porn saves a relationship or not, that's personal. Whether you should watch it or not, that's personal. If it's good for you or not, depends. If it's doing bad things to you, don't watch it. If it's doing good things to you, please do. Again, disclaimer, we're not challenging people's religion, faith, belief. That's your personal business. And if people would say, oh, it's bad, but you know what? People of every faith are watching it all over the world. If they weren't, it wouldn't be such a huge industry.
There you go.
Don't be hypocritical. We're just having scientific conversations here. These are just a matter of fact conversations. If you think it's educational, this is good for you, watch it. If you think watching porn is good for you, do it, man. I'm not going to judge you. On that note, Dennis, closing notes, man.
Yeah, I just want to say, when we put, seriously, whatever. Like people need to do this always comes down to one thing. I can do what I want, but I want to control what you do. And so it's just like at the end of the day, keep your value judgments, keep your morality, apply it to yourself, and you will just have a much, much happier life. To me, this conversation really isn't about pornography as much as it is morals and values and minding your own business. And so what we're trying to do with these types of topics is present information. If you're somebody that needs to be told how to live your life, then this is not the show for you. We're going to provide you information so that you can take and have information, and then you can take and decide whether you're going to be influenced by it or not. So that's what I have. Porn, look, is it good or bad? I don't know. That's in the eye of the beholder, and that's for a couple to work out on their own within their own relationship. What I want to just finish with is I truly hope we got one more episode tomorrow with Thursday, and it will be a similar topic. And until then, I just hope that everybody stays safe, healthy, and blessed.
Good night.
See ya.